As the Vanguard began its demonstration, Captain Hayes addressed the crew. "We will simulate a battle against a series of plasma weapons. Remember, stay calm and focused. Show them what we can do." The crew nodded, ready to make their captain proud. The demonstration started with a loud alarm. The Vanguard activated its shields and engines, moving gracefully through space. The crew watched as several drones equipped with plasma weapons were launched from a nearby ship. The drones sped towards the Vanguard, ready to strike. "Here they come!" shouted Lieutenant Sarah, the ship's weapons officer. She watched the monitors with sharp eyes, ready to react at a moment's notice. Captain Hayes felt a rush of adrenaline as the first plasma bolt flew toward them. He maneuvered the ship with skill, dodging the incoming attack. "Fire countermeasures!" Captain Hayes ordered. The crew quickly launched defensive flares, which drew the plasma weapons away from the Vanguard. The ship glided smoothly, showing off its agility. The crew cheered as the first wave of plasma weapons missed their target. "Excellent work!" Captain Hayes praised. "Now, let's show them our offensive capabilities." He ordered the crew to prepare for an attack. They aimed the ship's powerful laser cannons at the incoming drones, ready to strike back. As the next wave of plasma drones approached, the crew held their breath. The Vanguard fired its cannons, and bright beams of light shot through space, hitting the drones one by one. Each explosion sent shockwaves of excitement through the crew. Back on the Council's flagship, Ambassador Talar was taken aback by what he saw. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving in this battle. The Vanguard displayed agility and precision that no one expected. The Council members, who had doubted humanity's strength, watched in awe. "Look at them!" one counselor exclaimed. "They are fighting back with skill!" The atmosphere in the Council chamber changed. Doubts began to fade, replaced by curiosity and admiration. As the demonstration continued, Captain Hayes and his crew showed off more of the Vanguard's capabilities. They executed complex maneuvers and displayed advanced technology that left the Council amazed. Each time the ship dodged a plasma bolt or destroyed a drone, the Council members found themselves captivated. Ambassador Talar took notes, eager to understand the humans better. He realized that these were not the weak beings he had imagined. Instead, they were resourceful and determined, capable of defending their home and standing up against any threat. Finally, as the demonstration came to an end, Captain Hayes and his crew received a standing ovation from the Council members watching from their ships. The humans had shown their strength, and now the Galactic Council had to reconsider their view of humanity. The showdown had just begun, and Captain Hayes could feel the shift in the air. This was not just a battle for survival, it was a battle for respect. The Vanguard had proven itself, but what would come next? Only time would tell. The day of the demonstration finally arrived. The USS Vanguard floated gracefully in the vastness of space, surrounded by the sleek ships of the Galactic Council. Captain Morgan Hayes stood at the bridge, his heart racing with excitement and nerves. He knew this was their moment to shine, and he wanted to make a lasting impression. "All right, crew, this is it!" Captain Hayes called out, looking around at his team. Each face was filled with determination. "Today, we will show the Council what humanity is capable of. Let's make them proud!" The crew cheered in agreement. They had trained hard for this moment, and now they were ready. The ship's engines hummed, and the lights on the control panels flickered as they prepared for the demonstration. Captain Hayes could feel the energy in the air. It was electric. Meanwhile, Ambassador Talar observed from his ship, surrounded by Council members. He was curious, but also nervous. The ambassador had been sent to learn about the humans, and now he would witness their capabilities firsthand. He hoped the demonstration would provide valuable insights into humanity's strengths and weaknesses. As the Council members gathered to watch, Captain Hayes initiated the first phase of the demonstration. "Let's start with our agility drills," he announced. The crew moved quickly, following the captain's lead. The Vanguard began to glide through space, dodging imaginary threats and executing sharp turns. "Engage evasive maneuvers," Lieutenant Sarah called out from her station. The ship twisted and turned, making it look almost like a dance. The Council members watched in awe as the human warship showcased its speed and precision. It was clear that this was not an ordinary ship. It was a marvel of human engineering. Ambassador Talar took notes, impressed by the ship's performance. "They are skilled," he murmured to himself. He had expected a simple display, but this was something else. The Vanguard moved with grace, easily avoiding obstacles that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Next, Captain Hayes prepared for the weapon demonstration. "Now let's show them our firepower," he announced confidently. The crew quickly loaded the ship's laser cannons and aimed at a series of drones that had been set up for the demonstration. The drones hovered at various distances, simulating real targets. "Fire at will!" Captain Hayes commanded. The crew worked in perfect harmony, firing the lasers at the drones. Bright beams of light shot out from the vanguard, striking the targets with incredible accuracy. Each explosion sent clouds of debris into space, leaving the council members gasping in surprise. "Impressive!" one counselor exclaimed, unable to hide his excitement. The vanguard was not just surviving, it was thriving. The humans were showcasing a level of skill that many had thought impossible. As the demonstration continued, Captain Hayes introduced a new challenge. "Now we will engage in a simulated battle against multiple threats," he declared. The crew braced themselves as several drones launched at the vanguard from different directions. The ship swiveled and spun, dodging incoming attacks while returning fire. The crew shouted commands and celebrated each successful hit. With every laser that struck a drone, the council members became more and more impressed. They were witnessing a display of power that challenged their perceptions of humanity. Ambassador Talar felt a mix of pride and fear. The humans were not just warriors, they were clever and resourceful. If they could achieve this level of skill and technology, what else could they do? He began to question the council's earlier decisions. As the final part of the demonstration approached, Captain Hayes decided to end with a bang. "Let's show them our ultimate weapon," he announced. The crew rallied together, ready for the last display. They prepared the ship's most powerful laser, designed to demonstrate sheer strength. "Fire the main cannon!" Captain Hayes shouted. The crew pressed buttons in unison, and a brilliant beam of energy erupted from the vanguard. It struck a distant target, creating a massive explosion that lit up space. The council members could hardly believe their eyes. The display was not just a show of strength, it was a message. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The vanguard and its crew had proven their capabilities, leaving the council members in awe. As the demonstration came to an end, Captain Hayes stood tall, looking out at the stars. He felt a rush of pride for his crew. They had succeeded in their mission to impress the Galactic Council. Now, the future between humans and aliens hung in the balance, and the vanguard had opened the door to new possibilities. After the stunning demonstration, the mood on the USS Vanguard was electric. The crew celebrated their success, high-fiving and cheering for one another. Captain Morgan Hayes smiled, feeling proud of his team. They had shown the Galactic Council just what humanity could do. But deep inside, he knew that this victory might not last long. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's flagship, the atmosphere was tense. Ambassador Talar gathered with the council members to discuss the surprising display they had just witnessed. Many were still in shock at the humans' skills and technology. "This changes everything," one counselor said, her voice shaking with excitement and fear. "We underestimated them. If they can do this, what else are they hiding?" Ambassador Talar nodded, his mind racing. "We must be cautious. Humans are clever, and they may not be as peaceful as they claim," he replied. "We cannot allow our council to appear weak. We must respond." The other council members exchanged nervous glances. They had grown comfortable with their view of humanity as simple and weak. But now everything was different. The Vanguard had shattered that illusion. Meanwhile, back on the Vanguard, Captain Hayes and his crew were analyzing their performance. Lieutenant Sarah looked at the data on her screen, her brows furrowed in concentration. "Captain, our performance was excellent, but we should prepare for possible backlash. The council may not take this lightly," she warned. Hayes nodded, understanding the truth in her words. "You're right, Sarah. We need to be ready for anything. If they feel threatened, they might act aggressively," he said, his tone serious. As the crew continued to review their success, tensions began to rise among the council members. They started discussing the next steps. Some advocated for immediate action against the humans, while others urged caution. "We cannot attack without a reason," a wise counselor stated. "We need more information about their intentions. They may have shown strength, but we cannot assume they are a threat." "But what if they are?" another counselor snapped back. "What if they decide to attack us next? We must be ready to defend ourselves." Ambassador Talar listened carefully to the debate. He understood both sides, but he also felt something else, a growing respect for humanity. The display had shown him that humans were not to be taken lightly. "We should consider opening a dialogue," he suggested, raising his voice to capture everyone's attention. "Instead of declaring war, we could learn from them. They have much to offer." The council members looked at him, some surprised by his suggestion. "Are you saying we should trust them?" one counselor asked, his eyes narrowing. "I believe we must give them a chance," Talar replied firmly. "If we attack now, we risk escalating a conflict that could destroy us both. But if we communicate, we may find a way to coexist." After a long discussion, the council reluctantly agreed to send a message to the vanguard. They wanted to invite Captain Hayes for a meeting to discuss peace and potential cooperation. However, the atmosphere was still filled with uncertainty. Back on the vanguard, the crew was busy preparing for the next phase of their mission. Suddenly, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. Captain Hayes gathered his crew to discuss the invitation. "This is our chance to open a dialogue," he said, reading the message aloud. "But we must be careful. They are still wary of us, and tensions are high. We cannot afford any mistakes." The crew listened intently, feeling a mix of hope and fear. They knew that this meeting could shape their future in the galaxy. If they handled it poorly, it might lead to war. But if they succeeded, it could open the door for understanding and cooperation. As the vanguard prepared to head toward the Council's flagship, Captain Hayes felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. This was not just about the ship or its crew anymore. It was about the future of humanity. "Let's show them that we are more than just warriors," he said, looking each crew member in the eye. "We are a species that wants peace. We can do this together!" With their hearts racing, the crew of the vanguard set off to meet the council. They knew the stakes were high and the tension in the air was palpable. Would they be able to convince the Galactic Council of their intentions, or would it all fall apart? The answer lay ahead, waiting for them in the stars. The atmosphere on the USS Vanguard was tense as they approached the Galactic Council's flagship. Captain Morgan Hayes stood at the bridge, his heart pounding. He felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. This meeting could decide humanity's fate in the galaxy. "Prepare for arrival," Hayes commanded. The crew quickly moved into action, checking their systems and ensuring everything was ready. They all knew this was a crucial moment. As the Vanguard docked with the Council's flagship, Captain Hayes gathered his crew for a final briefing. "Remember, we're here to show them we want peace. We must be strong, but also open to dialogue," he said, looking into the determined faces of his crew. "Stay calm and let's present our best selves." The crew nodded, their expressions serious. They understood what was at stake. If things went well, they might build a bridge between humans and the Galactic Council. But if they failed, it could lead to war. As they entered the council chamber, Hayes was struck by the grandeur of the room. Alien counselors of all shapes and sizes gathered around a long table, their eyes focused on him. The tension in the air was thick, and he could feel the weight of their scrutiny. Ambassador Talar stood at the front, a mix of respect and concern on his face. "Welcome, Captain Hayes. We are here to discuss the future of our two species," he said, his voice steady. "Thank you, Ambassador," Hayes replied, taking a deep breath. "We come in peace and hope for cooperation between our peoples. We have much to learn from each other." The council members listened carefully. Some were skeptical, while others appeared intrigued. "Your demonstration was impressive," one counselor said. "But can we trust you? How do we know you won't turn your weapons against us?" Hayes felt a knot in his stomach. He understood their fear. "We have no desire for war. We want to share knowledge, technology, and culture. Together we can achieve great things," he said, trying to project confidence. The council debated among themselves, whispers filling the room. Suddenly, an alarm blared, interrupting their discussions. "Intruder alert! Ships approaching!" a council officer shouted, panic rising in his voice. Captain Hayes turned sharply. "What do you mean, intruders?" he asked, his heart racing. The officer quickly replied, "We have unidentified ships entering our space. They are armed and coming fast." Ambassador Talar's expression hardened. "It seems we have no time for discussions. We must defend ourselves." "Let us handle this," Hayes said, determination in his voice. "We can help you protect your flagship. My crew and I are ready to fight." The council members hesitated but realized they had no choice. They needed help. "Very well," Talar agreed. "You will have our support. But do not forget that we will be watching you." As alarms continued to blare, Captain Hayes rushed back to the Vanguard with his crew. "Get ready for battle," he shouted, adrenaline pumping through his veins. The crew quickly moved into action, preparing the ship for combat. "Deploy shields and load the weapons," Hayes ordered. The Vanguard sprang to life as the crew worked together, focusing on their tasks. On the view screen, enemy ships appeared, sleek and menacing. They were part of a rogue faction that had long opposed the Galactic Council. Now they saw a chance to strike. "Captain, they are closing in," Sarah warned, her fingers flying over the controls. "They look ready to attack! Prepare to engage!" Hayes shouted. The Vanguard shot forward, its engines roaring as it raced toward the enemy ships. The crew cheered, their fear replaced by determination. The battle erupted in a flurry of energy beams and explosions. The Vanguard maneuvered skillfully, dodging enemy fire while returning blasts of its own. "Fire at will," Hayes commanded, his heart racing as the crew followed his orders with precision. Despite the chaos, the crew worked as one, their training shining through. They fought fiercely, taking down enemy ships one by one. The Council's flagship provided support, firing its weapons alongside the Vanguard. As the battle raged on, Captain Hayes spotted the leader of the rogue faction's ship. "There it is! Target that ship!" he shouted. The crew quickly locked on, their sights set on the enemy leader. With one final command, Hayes shouted, "Fire the main cannon!" The Vanguard unleashed its most powerful weapon, and the energy beam shot through space, striking the enemy ship directly. The explosion was massive, lighting up the darkness of space. The rogue faction's threat was neutralized, and the remaining ships quickly retreated. Cheers erupted from the crew of the Vanguard as they realized they had won. Breathing heavily, Captain Hayes looked around at his crew, their faces filled with triumph. They had faced danger and come out victorious. The Galactic Council, now witnessing humanity's strength, looked on in awe. Ambassador Talar approached Captain Hayes, respect shining in his eyes. "You have proven yourselves today, Captain. Perhaps humanity is not just a threat, but a valuable ally." Captain Hayes smiled, his heart filled with hope. "Together we can achieve great things. This battle is just the beginning." As the Vanguard and the Council's flagship floated together in the vastness of space, a new era of cooperation began. Humanity had shown its strength, and now it was time to build a brighter future together. The Galactic Council was in an uproar. Alien representatives from many different planets gathered in a huge round room filled with advanced technology. Holograms of different worlds floated above the table, each representing the member species. Tension hung in the air like a thick fog as they discussed the recent discovery of a human warship called the USS Vanguard. Ambassador Jara, a tall alien with green skin and 4 eyes, slammed his fist on the table. "This is madness. How can we allow humans to have such a powerful warship? They are primitive beings. They should not have technology like this." His voice echoed through the chamber, showing his anger and fear. The other council members nodded, agreeing with Jara. They had always seen humans as weak and unimportant. To them, Earth was just a small planet in a distant corner of the galaxy. However, the reports about the Vanguard were changing everything. This warship was said to have the ability to destroy plasma weapons with ease. The Council could not ignore this new threat. As the debate continued, Councilor Realm, a small blue alien with a calm demeanor, spoke up. "We need to gather more information before making any rash decisions. We cannot assume that humans are a danger without knowing more about their capabilities." His voice was soft, but it carried weight among the members. "Information? What do we need to know?" Ambassador Zara, a fierce-looking warrior with bright red skin, retorted, "We cannot trust them. If they have a warship that can fight back, they could attack us at any time. We should take action now." She bared her sharp teeth, her anger boiling over. Realm shook his head. "If we act too quickly, we risk starting a war. We must send a delegation to Earth to observe the Vanguard and its crew. We need to see if they truly pose a threat, or if they can be reasoned with." The council members whispered among themselves, weighing Realm's suggestion. They were scared, and the fear of the unknown gripped their hearts. Most of them had never met a human before. Their only knowledge came from old stories that painted humans as violent and chaotic. But the reports about the Vanguard suggested a new reality. Finally, after much discussion, they reached a decision. They would send Ambassador Talar, a respected diplomat known for his calm approach, to Earth. He would investigate the Vanguard and report back to the Council. As the Council voted, uncertainty lingered in the air. Would Talar find a dangerous enemy, or would he uncover a new ally? Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Morgan Hayes stood on the bridge of the USS Vanguard, looking out at the stars. He was proud of his crew and their ship. The Vanguard was not just a warship, it was a symbol of human strength and determination. They had worked hard to develop technology that could match the most advanced alien weapons. As Captain Hayes prepared for the upcoming demonstration, he had no idea that the Galactic Council was watching. He felt confident, believing that their hard work would show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. Back in the council chamber, tensions simmered. Counselor Jara still felt uneasy about sending Talar. "We are making a mistake," he muttered. "Humans are unpredictable. They could turn against us," Raylan replied, "or they could surprise us. We must keep an open mind." As the meeting adjourned, council members left the room with heavy hearts. They had a tough decision ahead. Would the humans be a new threat, or could they become allies? Only time would tell. The fate of the galaxy rested on the outcome of this mission to Earth. On Earth, the USS Vanguard was buzzing with excitement. The crew prepared for a big demonstration that would show the Galactic Council just what humanity was capable of. Captain Morgan Hayes stood at the center of the bridge, giving instructions to his team. The air was filled with a mix of anticipation and nervous energy. "All right, everyone. Today is our chance to prove ourselves," Captain Hayes announced, his voice steady and confident. "We are going to show the Council that we can defend ourselves and that we are not to be underestimated." The crew cheered in agreement. They had worked hard to get ready for this moment, and now it was finally here. The Vanguard was a sight to behold. Its sleek design glimmered in the sunlight, and its advanced technology hummed softly. The crew conducted final checks, ensuring that everything was in perfect working order. Each member of the team knew their role, and they were determined to make this demonstration a success. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's flagship, Ambassador Talar watched the human ship from a distance. He was both curious and worried. He knew that this demonstration could change everything for humanity and the Galactic Council. If the humans succeeded, it might lead to a new understanding between their races. But if they failed, it could spark conflict.